Welcome everyone to the Expat Woman Show. I am really excited today to bring you Sierra Merritt all the way from Mauritius. She is an expat, actually a serial expat, and was recently a speaker, not a speaker, sorry, a sponsor at the Expat Woman Audio Summit, and is also a member of the Expat Woman membership. And she's the founder, owner, and virtual assistant at Digital Nomadic Solutions. And I'm so happy you could join us, Sierra. So I'm going to kick it off by having you share a little bit more about yourself and your expat journey.
Sure. So, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. As Nina explained, my name is Sierra, and I am a bit of a serial traveler, I guess you could say. I've been traveling since the age of 17 for multiple purposes, study abroad, uh, for leisure, to obtain a degree. And also, I had a residence permit at one point, and now a bit of a digital nomad visa here in Mauritius. Travel is something that is very near and dear to me. I feel alive when I'm doing it and talking about it. And here I am. And I decided to join the Expat Woman because I just wanted to be a part of a community of like minded women who share the same interests, and to just have that sense of community, I would say.
Wonderful, thank you. And since you brought up the Expat Woman membership, well, what have you enjoyed so far? Have you got to meet some of the members? Because I know you know, we don't have any other members living in Mauritius. We have them all across the world. Have you had an opportunity to connect with them, learn something from being part of the membership? Would love to hear your feedback.
Yeah, so as far as connecting, I would say that the networking events that have taken place since I joined, they have been very, very helpful. And in the breakout rooms, I've been able to connect and just listen to some stories from other women that are around the world and learn about their projects that they're working on. And we have exchanged contact information, LinkedIn information, and I have some coffee chats set up so that we can talk further. Um, but I think that it happened to come at the right time for me specifically because I have just been wanting to again have that sense of community, as you mentioned. None of the women are in Mauritius, and the area that I live in Mauritius is more of a local neighborhood. There aren't many expats here, so I've been quite isolated. Um, but still having access to those networking events, it just gave me like a sigh of relief because we've been able to empathize with each other and just motivate each other, and it's just been very instrumental, and I'm very grateful for it.
And we're grateful to have you be part of this. And also, you came on board as a sponsor for the summit, which is amazing. So, let's talk about you choosing Mauritius because you've lived in so many different countries, which is fabulous. And you said you also live in a part of Mauritius where there are no expats. So, tell us what made you decide to live in Mauritius and why did you choose this area?
Sure. So I first heard about Mauritius, I want to say back in 2019. At the time, I was living in Santorini, Greece, and it's, as many people know, it's in the south part of Europe and north of Africa. So I happened to browse or come upon a blog entry about a young lady that was in Mauritius, and she was saying that it was an African island. And at the time, I didn't know that African islands existed. But here I was in this location that was in close proximity to Africa. So it made more sense to try to make plans to travel while I was living there, as opposed to going back to America and trying to do it then, because of it's just a really big difference in distance, I should say. But then COVID happened, or the global situation happened, and then I had to go back to the U.S. unexpectedly, and I was there for about 2 years, and then an article was recommended to me about different digital nomad visas, and I saw that Mauritius was on the list, and the requirements for the visa I feel were very minimalistic compared to a lot of other digital nomad visas. And I thought it was a sign. I said, okay, this seems like this can be a reality. So I just made plans. I think it took me like a year and a half almost to take the leap. And when I first came to the island, I was living in a very touristic part where there are a lot of expats. Um, but I longed for something a bit more authentic. And I wanted to be able to get a residence or live in an apartment that would give me more bang for my buck. So, to give you an example, when I first came to the island, I was living right across the beach, from the beach, and but I was in a studio apartment. When I relocated to the center of the island where I'm living now, I'm spending less, and I have 2 bedrooms. I had 2 bathrooms. I had a balcony with a mountain view, parking space, and it just seemed like it made more sense money wise. But then, in a sense, it was almost like social suicide because I a lot of people weren't there weren't a lot of expats basically. And I also found out the hard way that French and Creole were used more in the center of the island, and English was more on the coast.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah,
And I know Mauritius is pretty expensive, right? Because it's a
it's
tourist spot.
really.
So it's amazing
Hmm.
that you really find this 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom place. But as you say, it's a compromise. So, and it's even if you live in a country with a lot of expats or tourists, I think sometimes to find like-minded people, you have to go out of your way, right? I live in
Yeah.
a town where I don't know too. I mean, there are not too many expats, so I have, that's why I created this virtual community because it feels like we're all living in different countries, but we all have similar struggles and hopes and desires and the
Mhm.
curiosity to meet people from other countries. So hopefully, with the Expat Women membership, our community, and all the virtual chats you're setting up, you'll be able to enjoy the beauty of your island and um, also make friends. And maybe some people will come visit you now that they know you have a 2 bedroom place.
Yeah.
So I'm kidding.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk.
Mhm.
Let's talk about your business because that's really interesting, and the topic is about remote freedom by starting a virtual assistant, business. So let's talk about when did you decide you wanted to start that? What inspired you to start this business, and what were you doing before that?
Yeah. So, as far as inspiration, when I decided that I was going to pursue the digital nomad visa to come to Mauritius, I had to think of an exit plan or something that could support a move like that. Um, the job that I had before I left Washington, D.C. was I was working in the financial industry, which was a first for me. My background is more media arts related, but I decided to make a change and just try something new. And it didn't really work out that well for me because the finances and then someone in the arts, there's a lot of conflicting things there, but I just wanted to try. But it did pay really well. Um, so at the time, I knew that I wanted to create this exit plan. So I just dealt with it. And while working part time at this organization, I created my virtual assistant business on the side. So I was doing that when I came home, and then I was working full time as well. And I was a very busy lady at that time, just juggling my clients and then also going to work. But it was okay because I knew that there was an end date or a departure date. So I was able to at least deal with it until a certain point. And then I knew once I came here that I would have to rely on it, and that full-time employment would go away, and then I would have to fill it with clients or other streams of income as well. So yeah, there's that.
Very cool. And when you started your business, so you started it in you said in Greece. Did you say you started in Greece?
I started my business when I was in Washington, D.C.
Oh, you were in the US. Sorry, sorry. So
Mhm.
you were in Washington D.C. You started it there, but now in Mauritius, did you have to get any special licenses, or because you're an US expat, you can work? Like, what is your visa in Mauritius? Like, how are you running your business and living in Mauritius?
Yep, sure. So I am in Mauritius through a visa called the Premium Visa, which is for remote workers. Basically, I cannot enter the Mauritian job market with this type of visa. I need to be able to prove that I have income coming in from outside of Mauritius. So that is how I was able to when I was in Washington, D.C., I obtained a business license so that I could start the virtual assistant business. And majority of my clients are from America. And I didn't get to mention this, but I also teach English as a second language on the side as well. So just diversifying my streams of income. And all of those streams come from outside of Mauritius. And that's what this visa is about. You can come, you can live here, you can learn about the culture, but you cannot enter the Mauritian job market on this particular visa.
That's really interesting, and thank you for sharing that, because again, that gives you that remote freedom. And tomorrow, if you want to move somewhere else, you can take your business with it. So I love it. If people are joining us, just and you want to introduce yourself in the comments, have a question, have something to share. This is streaming on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and on Facebook. So people might watch it live, or they'll join and watch the replay. That's the beauty of StreamYard. So yeah, just if you are watching live, feel free to introduce yourself or leave a comment. But we'll continue with this conversation. So, with what kind of work does your business do? Like, what kind of virtual assistant work? Who are the clients you help? How do they find you?
Sure. So the type of work that I provide through my virtual assistant business is usually admin or operational support. So we know there's this endless amount of small business owners all around the world, right? And a lot of times they have time consuming and redundant tasks that they don't necessarily want to deal with, and they can easily outsource. So that's where I come in. I come in and I support them from behind the scenes with their administrative and operational needs while they focus on being the face of their brand. And as I look back on the past 2 years that my business has existed, I've had clients in the medical industry, tech, business coaches. Um, I would say, yeah, those in particular. Yeah.
Okay, we have some questions here. You can't see her name, but this is Alyssa Hunter, who lives in San Francisco, and she's actually looking to move abroad. So Alyssa says, will you have the choice to change your visa if you want?
Sure, sure. So the premium visa is good for, I believe, 6 months to a year. That's how long you can have it. And you can renew it if you want. You can also switch to something else if you'd like. Mauritius is a country that is rapidly developing. The economy is doing very well, and they want to attract people from overseas that can come to the island and help build economically. So there are so many visas and schemes to help you come and help with like if you have a really great business idea and they feel like it can help the economy. I believe there are grants that can be used in a case like that. Um, or there are visas where if you want to buy some property, you can get residence that way. The best place to go in order to get more information on that would be edbmauritius.org.
Thank you. Thanks, Sierra. Maybe you can share the link later in the comments of all three because people are joining us from different platforms. So, yeah, thank
Okay.
you. So, we have another question. Yeah, we have a question from Monica. She says, what is a day in the life of your clients look like?
hmm So, a day in the life with my clients, it's because of the time zone differentiation, I usually am working while they're sleeping. So, which is a bit advantageous because I get a head start on a lot of my work. And then I want to say around 5 o'clock or 6 p.m. my time, they're starting to wake up and they already have their deliverables at that point. And so they just go ahead and they follow up with me, let me know what they need, and then before I go to bed, I'll just go ahead and just do any quick touch ups. Or if we need to have a meeting, it usually will be in the evening, my time, morning, their time. But so far, it's been working out. Yeah.
Awesome. And then Monica has one more question. She says, what are your key activities, document management, calendar management? Because I guess you're dealing with so many different clients, right?
Yeah. So, Monica, you pretty much guessed it. There's a lot of document management. There's calendar management. There's data management. There's research, project management. It's when you, the type of VA that I am is a bit of a generalist. So when they have a need that falls somewhere within admin or operational support, they just go ahead and communicate what it is that they need, and they upload anything that they need to help me in my process of assisting them. For example, one of the platforms that I use quite often, I'm not sure if you've heard of it, it's called Notion. And Notion is really good with task management because you can put start dates on there, check in dates, due dates. You can upload materials as attachments. They can respond, and you get notifications when they update, or when you update, they provide notifications as well. So it's been working out very well and seamlessly, I would say.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks for answering those questions. And if folks have more questions, please drop them in the comments so we can ask them to Sierra while we have her online. So Sandra has two questions. She said, "How long have you been there?" And then her other question is, "How is the weather?"
Yeah, so I have been in Mauritius for about a year and a half now. So prior to coming here, Greece was the longest duration that I spent away from home. And so now it's a tie between Mauritius and Greece. And it looks like Mauritius is going to win very soon. So, yeah, there's that. And as far as the weather is concerned, right now, it's like 71 degrees Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. I live in the center of the island currently, where it's more mountainous, less beach areas, basically. And Mauritius is different in as much as the closer you get to the coast, the hotter it will be. It's not like at home where when you get to the water, it's going to be cooler. It's the complete opposite here. So, right now on the coast, it's probably really hot there. We just went into summer season. But here in the center, in my opinion, still feels a bit like fall.
That's cool. The weather I think is a bit like Indian weather, I think, because you guys are pretty close, right? So I
Yes.
wanted to ask you about, what did you find? I love the topic about culture shock, and I live in the U.S.,
Mhm.
so I guess everyone right here on the call is. I know Sandra's currently in Mexico, but she's American too. What were
Mhm.
some of the differences between the U.S. and Mauritius? Like, how did you have to adapt, or change? Maybe not your attitude, but do things differently. Uh, yeah, happy
Mhm.
to hear some of your insights and experiences.
I would say the pace is something that has been very, very different for me. So I did mention that I used to live on an island, so I knew coming here that life would be it wouldn't be an accelerated process like from where I'm from, where everything is so quick, it's always moving, things are always open, there's availabilities, and it's very convenient. But here, time is an interesting concept. It's not kept the same way that it is back at home. Um, I think that I'm starting to, I don't know if acceptance is the right word. I think I'm learning how to navigate it best. So, for example, if I know that I'm supposed to meet up with someone and the person, for example, my boyfriend is Mauritian. If he says that he's going to be here in 10 minutes, that actually means 30 to 40 minutes. So that's how I should move, basically, that type of acceptance. Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah, in
yeah.
India we call
Mhm.
it Indian stretchable time, because we I even though I live in the US, it's still after 22 years I still have my Indian mentality where, oh, I'll push it till the last minute. Let's see how long we can stretch it. And my husband's
Mhm.
American, so for him it's hard, so it's also interesting
Sure.
when you're in an intercultural, interracial relationship.
Mhm. Yeah.
You can also adjust to that, right? And
Yeah.
so and I know that things might. It's also like an island culture, so I guess it has
Yes.
a different vibe altogether. Um, and in terms of like when you came here, did you prepare like beforehand and read about the culture, and like how did you prepare for your move to Mauritius besides getting the visa? Were there other things you did? What advice do you have for anyone who's looking, maybe interested in moving to this country from somewhere else? Yeah,
Mhm.
share that.
I would say that YouTube was very instrumental in providing information for me before coming to Mauritius. There are a lot of expats on YouTube that document their life in Mauritius, and it was the information that they provided was very plentiful, and they were also very accommodating when I left comments or if I ever DM'd them. So that, for the most part, is how I got a lot of my answers in regards to Mauritius. From an American point of view, I feel like, and I was included in this as well, we just, for some reason, a lot of us aren't knowledgeable about Mauritius. And I don't think that that is a good thing. And it's part of the reason why I did come to this island. I have a media and film background, and I wanted to film and document my findings and share them on YouTube so that more Americans could know that the island existed, the history, where it's located, bring that sort of information. So I kind of followed the same path that a lot of the people on YouTube were doing with their documentation and how they were recording their experiences. And as far as advice coming to Mauritius, I would say try to be as open minded as possible. It's easier said than done. We only know what we know. And then when you assimilate into another culture, that's when reality hits. So that's it's something that comes with growing pains, but it will build you into a stronger person. You never return home the same after living abroad. You're always more adaptable, more flexible because of the experience that you've had. So I would say use YouTube. Definitely utilize it. Ask your questions to the people that are abroad. You can always reach out to me as well. My channel, Expat Sierra, and just keep an open mind. I will say that Mauritians are very approachable people, very approachable, and they don't really hesitate to help. So that's a good thing as well. Yeah.
That's wonderful, and I love what all your advice about having an open mind. I think wherever you move in the world, right, it's so important. Cultural intelligence, empathy, resilience. So, and thanks for sharing your YouTube channel. I just discovered it the other day, so I love that you're documenting your time in another. I think because it also when when you start shooting videos and documenting your time in a country, it also gives you a better and deeper understanding and love for the country, right? Because
Yes.
you want to showcase it. So I think it's
Right.
great that you're doing that. And in terms of remote freedom, before we end, what do you have any tips for folks who are looking for remote freedom, either starting a business like yours or anything else?
Definitely. So I would say that we're living in a very digital world. And if COVID, I'm sorry, if the global situation in 2020 has taught us anything, it's that you probably have some skills that could be used at your leisure to help someone. There's someone that needs your help. If you don't know what that thing is, you probably should take a moment and think about when people need help, what do they come to you for mostly? That is going to be your key, right? And if you're still not sure, then ask people, what do you think I'm really good at? And once you narrow this down, this is probably something that can help you while you're overseas. You probably can provide a service. Are you a creative? Do you know how to build websites? Can you teach English as a second language? Can you teach your own native language online? Can you provide administrative support online? What about project management? There's so many things that can be done online these days. We don't necessarily need to go into an office anymore. So it's just a matter of finding out what your thing is that you do very well and packaging it in a way that you can sell it and offer it online.
That
So
those are
that way,
such great tips. I mean, you're just dropping so many values here. Yeah,
thank
Sierra,
you.
thank you. That's really helpful. And finally, how can people uh, find you, work with you? There might be people watching right now or watching the replay that are looking to hire virtual assistants. So, and also, what are your future plans? Are you looking to stay in Mauritius? What, are you doing other stuff like anything? Just share with us.
Sure, sure. So if you are interested in more Mauritius related content or just expat discussions in general, go ahead and just check out my channel at Expat Sierra. And I'm more than happy to, if you leave a comment, just go ahead and respond to me that way. You can also find me on Instagram, Expat Sierra, as well. And if you have any inquiries as far as virtual assistants, my email address is sierra@nomadicbs.com.
Wonderful. And you will share those links as well in the comments so people can also find you. So in case you were like trying to listen to it all, just Sierra said shared so much wonderful stuff. We'll make sure to have Sierra share those links as well. Sierra, thank you so much for joining us this today. And from Mauritius, I know it's much later in the evening for you. And
Yeah.
again, I'm so happy to have you be a member of the Expat Women membership, so we can continue to be in touch and collaborate. Thank you to all the guests who joined us live, who joined us virtually, and thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye.